what do you think independence would change for women? And you were noting that some of the people were already elected, and what was the kind of intentions about that, and the concern about the NHS. So does anyone want to jump in first?
I've been told I have to go first.
Right, okay.
I promise I won't speak too long.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not, I've been told. What do I hope independence achieves for women? I hope there is a whole new set of equality laws within our constitution. I hope that women come forward and start getting engaged in politics and actually get involved in what women need and their concerns. But at the end of the day, it's not just women that obviously inequality deals with. So obviously disabled and race, and obviously we've got transsexuals and all sorts of things. So I do hope women come forward, and I do hope it motivates women. I hope that they feel that empowerment that it's happening. And Nicola Sturgeon, as much as I'm not an SNP fan, an advocate for a woman in politics, she's immensely clever, very quick, love her. But what's the next one? Sorry, CLPs. Yeah, but I'll be contesting that, so don't worry about that, because I wasn't allowed to be voting on that, and it's actually from being excluded, not from my choice of not turning up. So I will be contesting the votes that have been taken prior to being involved. And the NHS collapse, I do speak to a lot of people that work within NHS Scotland. Obviously, United does have a huge amount of NHS Scotland within it, and most of them are yes. And they do say that the NHS in Scotland isn't perfect, which it isn't. No. And yes, it's already sneaking in, because you can't stop it from sneaking in, because Tories have got that hold over the government. But my hope and my prayers are that Scotland have more sense than to elect somebody into Parliament that is going to rid us of our NHS. Our NHS is a code establishment. It was founded by an immensely clever man, and it should be saved at all costs. And only a Tory government would get rid of an NHS and to make their friends richer people. And it's a disgrace that it's happening down south. It's a shame that it's got to the stage that it has before we could do anything about it. But please, please, please join us in all the marches down south, because we will be down there for years to come, fighting to save their NHS in England, even though we have gained independence and staying positive. So please don't give up the fight for England, but still keep up the fight up here, because it's about who you vote for and what the policies are. But hopefully, I would imagine, when the Constitution comes to being gathered and written, and whoever's on the board, hopefully it comes within it somewhere. So I know the Scottish Government have pledged to protect it, so I would hope and pray that that is the case, because it's needed, and it's a scary prospect not to have it. So that's my answer to that.
Okay. What will independence do for women? Well, I mean, that sort of depends on who gets elected into the Scottish general election. But I mean, I think it's been tremendous, the role that women have already played in this campaign. And there was some speculation about women having less likely to support.
Being marginalised.
That was. I mean, the poll 4 days ago showed that actually that's now changing. That in fact a majority of women in the country are now predisposed to vote yes. And I think it's because it opens up a world of possibilities. It gives people the right to choose a much more prosperous and fairer country, where where things for me, the things that suggest yes, but I mean generally that people won't have to work as hard and suffer as much for as little as they get at the minute. And things will be better. But I think in terms of actually specific legislation, then that will depend on the individual parties that you would elect. But at least, you would always get the government you vote for. Rather than just having a 50-50 chance of getting that, you would always get the government that you vote for. So I mean, that probably is the main thing for women who may indeed have voted for progressive things, only to be frustrated by them not being advanced at the level of the UK. I can't really comment on the Labour Party selection procedures.
Actually, there's a good way of representing this, because what Tom's he's saying, right, I work 5 days and I work full time, and what I earn as a wage, if you take that as being gender, my husband would work 4 days for the same wage, and it's because I'm a woman. So that is how much inequality is between gender. You wouldn't believe it still happens in this day, but it is still happening, and that is the difference. He would only have to work 4 days to earn my wage, because he's a man. So So that's the good way of putting that, if it helps anybody to understand what the inequalities for women are, because obviously sometimes people go, why is there an inequality to women? But that's the difference, and that is how it is basically generalised.
On the Labour Party, having already selected people who've got their minds made up, that may be the case, but if we get a yes vote 18th of September, I think they're going to have to think again, frankly. Either that, or they're just not going to get
The thing
elected.
is, if they have to create, if there's a yes vote and they have to create a Scottish Labour Party as a legal entity and as a kind of party entity, then all of the previous held elections are null and void. So,
and on the NHS, I mean, I get the argument about, what about the people of England? I mean, what about working class people in England who can't afford? I get that argument. What I don't get is an argument that says because we can't achieve everything throughout Britain, we shouldn't achieve something in one part of it. Because if we actually can, get independence in Scotland and have those powers and levers to enshrine the principle of free healthcare, then not only does it benefit people here, but it provides a powerful beacon to people south of the border, where the communities there can say, what do you mean we can't afford this? How come they can afford it there, we can't afford it here? And you then, so we can lead by example, and we can fill the buses and go to marches as well. I mean, people talk, that's the thing about separation. The way the No campaign talk, you'd think that we were building a wall or digging a trench or something. Scotland is not going to be separate from England after independence. It's going to be just as connected as it is at the moment. The telephone lines are still going to run. Not going to reprogram the satellites so Scotland goes out of range, It's all going to still just be there. The only difference would be that we'd actually have self-government in this part of the island. And if we can use that, not just to make things better for people here, but to lead people in the rest of the island, well, isn't that a good thing?
I believe the Isle of Man has self-government and they're still alive.